Hi YouTube. Today I'm going to share with you what I think is a pretty genius way to take care of parent gifts this year. I'm talking about the gifts that you as a teacher make with your students and so that they have something nice to take home. My name is Penny Bearden and I teach 6th through 12th grade math and science in a small fly-in native village in South Central Alaska. A few years ago, my students created a video to kind of introduce the village. So if you're interested in knowing a little bit about the village, I'm going to link that video in the description so that you can check it out. If we are just meeting for the first time, go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments below and tell me a little bit about yourself. I am super excited to meet everyone. If we already know each other, don't be shy. Go ahead and comment below and at least say hi. So a little bit of history on this. Like I said earlier, I teach 6th through 12th grades. I teach all of the students who are in 6th grade, and I teach them all the way until they graduate. So there are certain things that I struggle with, and one of them is coming up with new ideas on helping them make something nice for their parents or loved ones at Christmas time. So I'm talking about making calendars with students. So the first time I made calendars with students, I tied it to cultural standards. And we talked about the events, the cultural events. The village is Russian Orthodox as a religion, and they have quite a few religious celebrations throughout the year. And we do quite a few things as a community. Like memorial basketball and volleyball tournaments, as well as natural events like salmon runs and hunting seasons. And then I gave students choices on how they wanted to use their artwork or decorate each month. And some students did choose to incorporate the cultural things that we talked about, the seasonal things that we talked about, and some just made their own artwork, and that was fun too. It really turned out to be an amazing gift. The only trouble that I had with it is that I wasn't very organized with the assignment. So I ended up with just months and papers, and it was a mess. But I have them organized this year in a file, and I have a system that's very, very doable and inexpensive and easy. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. The other thing that I use this calendar for is for student planning. I told you that one of the things I teach is 6th through 12th grade math, and you probably know that there's no such class labeled 6th through 12th grade math. So just for math this year, I teach 6th grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade math, pre-calc, advanced algebra, algebra 1, and algebra readiness, and a math elective over 3 class periods. I don't have those all at the same time, but I have all of those in 3 class periods. So at the beginning, with my older students, my younger students are not ready for this, but for my older students, at the beginning of a unit, we sit down together and we look at the requirements and we discuss how long, with everything else that's going on, how long is reasonable to spend on these standards and what the expectations are. And I make sure it's within reason of what the district expects, but then we sit and we collaborate on when things are due, and we put those into our planning calendar. So I'm curious, how do you collaborate with students, or do you? And what do you think about it? The link to my brand new TPT shop is in the description if you would like to use this calendar project for students to give their artwork and a handy calendar to parents or loved ones. I would appreciate it. It will be updated so you can use it year after year. And even though for me teaching 6 through 12, I've been coming up with different things each year, I do think this calendar is something that I could use more often, maybe even every year, because every year it's going to be different artwork and it'll be a different calendar. So I think that might work for me, which is what I'm thinking. It could actually even become kind of a tradition here that we make a calendar. So that would be fun. Like I said, I've done this before with students, and the only thing I didn't like about it was that I didn't have it organized, and I do now. So there are 4 versions of the calendar in the file, and the first one is just a full page. Each one has a cover page. The first one is a full page for art and a full page for the calendar, and My vision for this one is that it can be, it's 8.5 by 11 paper, so it can be attached to 9 by 12 paper and maybe even laminated if the kids, if it's something that parents will want to save, which is very likely. That might be a really great option. There is the full page, but there's a little space for binding. So there's space, a little extra space at the top of each calendar and at the bottom of each artwork. And that way, if you have a binding machine or you just choose to bind it in some way, maybe even put in to some construction paper and stapled, then there's space where you're not binding into their artwork. This is probably the one that I'll use this year. Like I said, it still has the cover page. But each month artwork and the calendar is on the same page. Like I said, I'm keeping it very, very simple this year, and this is probably the one that I will use. And then the last one that's included is just the planning calendar, which is just the calendar, just a plain calendar that has space for notes. So there you go. I'm pretty excited this year to have it all organized. If you would like to follow along with this YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button, and if you click the bell, you'll be notified when I put up new videos, which will usually be on Sunday mornings. Thanks.